Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day. So today we continue our topic, which is chapter 6, high voltage measurement system. So according this topic, we have part 1 and the part 2. So I just want to finish for the part 1 for this video, and then we continue for the next class for the part 2. Okay, so according this one, the this part we have five subtopic, which is a test setup, now voltage divider, and then we have a measurement cables, and then a digitizer, and the last part is a current measurements. So according this one, according this topic, um, this is more test setup from the Aalto University. This is the slide from the credit to Dr. Muzamil Isa. And for your information, in Unimap we have a high voltage lab and a small high voltage lab. And the I think the largest one, the high voltage laboratory is in UTM, which is the EVAT. So in the UTM also they provide the service from the other industries for the testing and measurement. So in the Unimap we have just open for the postgraduate student and FYP student, but in the module for the high voltage and high voltage course for the and for the undergraduate, uh, no lab for the high voltage. So if you want to further your study in the master, so you can select the topic for the high voltage, so you can do some experiments there. Okay, so that for your information also, the UDMAP high voltage laboratory in the FTKE just energized for, I think, for the last years, because they have before this we have several problem like grounding, like calibration. So currently I frequently use the high voltage laboratory for the partial discharge testing and measurement for my student, for my PhDs and master student, to do experiments. So before this I think I just share about my experience on the PD measurement in the laboratory. So today we will learn about the every part of the high voltage measurement system. Okay, so normally the high voltage measurement system will conducted in the laboratory. So in the USM also they have several session for the high voltage measurement. So that's why I'm always go to the USM, do some experiments there, because they have more they have more facilities that equips to for the high voltage testing and measurement. Okay, so this is the high voltage measurement system. Normally in the high voltage laboratory, this is the basic one, the typical high HV measurement setup. So after this, I will share the schematic diagram of the high voltage lab in the UDMAP. So for the first thing, they have the most important part is the high voltage source. So and then they will energize to the transformer, and so and then they have a converter, which is the voltage divider, the instrument transformer, and voltage divider also we will know the voltage, the output voltage that we want to they want to produce. And then the third one is the transmission system, from converter to the measuring instrument, including actuator, matching impedance, and terminator. And then the fourth is indicating or recording instrument. So they have a voltmeter, ammeter, oscilloscope, digital recorder. Instrument typically includes internal actuator. Okay, they have an internal actuator which can be used as a matching impedance. And the last part, the interference shielding. okay, or the earning system. And the earning system, so if you enter the high voltage laboratory, mostly the high voltage lab, they have there's a cage, okay, and then the cage is connected to the ground, so this is normally for the safety issue. And then they have a earning system. Normally all the equipment such as the transformer, voltage divider, we put over to the grounding plate and connect to the earning system. Okay, so I want to share here. Okay, this is the schematic diagram normally we use in the in UNIMEP. So they have several part. They have a AC voltage operating terminal OT276. So and then for your information, in the high voltage lab in the UNIMEP, we use Hafele brand, and they have a single stage measurement of a transformer. So they have a transformer here, and then they measuring capacitor. So actually the measuring capacitor is what is it one type of the voltage divider. And then they have a measurement instrument, DMI 551, and then the grounding switch. The grounding switch, we have some safety issue about the voltage is over the limit, and then the grounding switch will automatically open to switch off our measurement setup. And then they have a test cell, and then they have a measurement sensor. For this one, I use the Rogowski color sensor, and then connect to the oscilloscope, the PC, so we can get the output from the test specimen. Okay, so basically the high voltage measuring system from the AC source up until this one, the measuring until the measuring capacitor. Okay. So this is the high voltage measurement system. This one, the high voltage measurement system in the Aalto University. So same with the UNIMEP, we have two parts, which is the laboratory, and the second part is in the control room. So normally the control room is controlled by the competent person, and so they can adjust the input, and they can monitor the output voltage from the injected voltage. Okay, so according the in the laboratory, okay, in the laboratory they have a voltage source, and then they have a test object, and then the voltage divider, and the cable, and then the instrument. So according from the previous previous schematic diagram, so the measuring instrument measuring DMI 551 is put in the control room. So the computer person can monitor the voltage they inject to the test object. Okay. So this is the the type of the voltage divider, the figure of the voltage divider. This is depend on our application. So for this one, this is the two highly uniquely impedance connected in series, and then this produce an output voltage that is a fraction of its input voltage, and the voltage division refers to the partitioning of the voltage among the component of voltage divider. So so basically the voltage divider, uh, they have a two part, which is R1 and R2 for the resistive voltage divider. If you can remember how to calculate the output voltage from the voltage divider. Okay, from the diagram they have R1 and R2. So to get the value of V out, you need to the equation is the V out is equal V in times with the R2 over R1 and plus 2. so you can get the value of the V out. Okay, so this is the voltage divider, the type of voltage divider, not only for the resistive and capacitive load. The not the capacitive load, the capacitive voltage divider. Okay, the basically is a resistive divider. So this is the basic circuit. Actually, if you still remember the voltage divider, if you have learned in the circuit theory. So if you want to calculate the value of the V out here, so you need to times with the V in times with the R2 over R1 plus R2. Same goes to the capacitive. Okay, this is the capacitive, the connection of the capacitive, and this one the connection for the dampened capacitive, and this one the parallel resistive and capacitive. This is a combination between the capacitive and resistive. So according the type of the voltage divider, so you can see in this table. So according to our test, we need to energize for the DC source, for the AC source, SI, which is a surge impulse, and the lightning impulse. So if you want to produce the lightning impulse, so you need to know what is the divider type that you want to use. Okay, for example, here they have a you can see here they have a double positive. Okay, two positive, which is a work wells, and for the single positive is can works, and if one single of the negative signs, this is they have some problems or the limitation. Okay, and for the negative, double negative signs, it cannot be used. Okay, so for the resistive, they have two types, which is a high ohmic in the mega ohms and the low ohmics in kilo ohms. And so it is depend the application. So it can works well for DC, it can be used for the AC and the surge impulse. But if you want to use for the surge lightning impulse, and they have a problem and limitation for the low ohmics. They have a problem and limitation for DC, AC, such impulse, but it is work well for the lightning impulse. Okay, and for the capacitive, so the for capacitive is cannot be used for the DC application. Okay, because the capacitive they energize for the then they need to charging and discharging part. Okay, so this cannot be used for the DC application. So this work well for the AC and the surge impulse, and for the lightning impulse is they have some problem and limitations. And for the dampened capacitive, it can be used for the DC. Okay, so it goes to the capacitive. So once is for the capacitive type is cannot used for DC, but for the parallel resistor and capacitive is can works for the all applications such as a DC, AC, surge impulse, and the lightning impulse. Okay, so the next part, which is the stray capacitance. So what is the stray capacitance? So this one the capacitive coupling of isolated system. Okay, the capacitive coupling and lead to adjacent conductors can be considered a capacitant. Okay, so we have, if you have two or any separation of two conductor is considered as a capacitor because they have some gaps here. So this is will produce a stray capacitor. So according the this one, the high voltage divider has an open structure. Stray capacitance from object close to the divider have an influence. So so the divider. So the test of the object close to the divider. So means the adjacent conductor. So the influence of the stray capacitance, and then from ground high voltage feeder divider element. So they have a stray of capacitance, and usually this influence cannot be avoided. Okay, so they have still there the stray capacitance. So the correct so how to minimize. So make sure you have a correct design and selection of a divider, and then pressurized gas capacitor do not have this problem. So if you want to design the voltage divider and to minimize the stray capacitance, so you need to must have a correct design and selection of voltage divider on. And one more thing, you can use a pressure gas capacitor. And this one, the high voltage divider for the mega ohm here. So this is the equation. Okay, U out is equal to RL and over RH plus RL times with the U in. So the optimum, the DC average value is also the lightning impulse peak value times parameters overshoot small r better for measuring lightning impulse. So what is the problems? Problems for the high resistant divider, overheating of the high voltage resistor. Main problem for all resistive divider. So the according the previous one, the large R1 is equal to better for slower pulse. So you still remember about what the impulse generator. So it is for the lightning pulse. So means here the value of R is better for the larger the larger of R. So better for the slower pulse. Okay, so the stray capacitance. Okay, this is the stray capacitance to the ground high voltage in the 2 giga ohm divider for measuring of 200 kV. A stray capacitor of 10 picofarad form a lower pass filter, form as a low pass filter, and the filter attenuates fluctuation and restriction measurement speed. Okay, and then the meter loading, the resistance of high voltage DC divider are usually so large that the meter input resistance, typically 1 mega ohm or 10 mega ohm, sometimes 10 mega ohms, has an influence change the divider ratio. So so this one, the connection of the high resistance divider. Okay, and then this one for the low resistance divider. So you can remember that the table, they have two types of the resistive voltage divider. They have a high resistance, and this one for the low resistance. So the optimal for the lightning impulse, faster shorted impulse. Okay, for the low impedance, and the problem is still stray capacitance of high voltage resistor. Okay, this one, the resistor absorb the energy of the impulse, needs time to cool down between the pulse. Okay, if you remember the heat of the patient which we energize for that application. Okay, so this one, the surge impulse has too much energy, is equal to overheating. Okay, so this one, the field grading here for the voltage divider. Okay, in order to avoid the low pass effect, so what happen if we have a low pass filter effect? So means here, the some signal from the low frequency, they will eliminate. So in order to avoid the low pass filter, the field along the high voltage resistor must be meshed with the resistance distribution using the shield or guard ring uh, placed over the resistor divider to enforce a uniform field. Okay, so that's one. They need the shield or guard ring placed over the resistor divider. So this one the resistive divider, and this one the shield or ring to make sure the the field here, okay, the field is uniform. An alternative is to make non-linear resistance distribution according to the field. Okay, this is the for the straight capacitance compensation. One possibility is to use the external shield. Okay, the external shield by capacitor or the resistor to adjust the field. So before this, we have the guard ring, okay, shield or the guard ring. So according this one, they put the external shield driven by the capacitor or the resistor. So they put like this one. They added compensation the resistor. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, so this is the capacitive divider. So this is quite different compared to the calculation to get the U out. Okay, the V out from the resistive. So this is the equation 1 over j omega CL over 1 plus j omega CL plus 1 j omega CH. Okay, or CH over CL plus C2 CH. Okay, the optimal DC on only ripple. Okay, only ripple. So it cannot use for the DC application. For the AC, they have a peak value, RMS value, and for the overshoot here. Okay, for the surge impulse, had a peak value and a time parameter, small capacitance to avoid the modified waveform, large enough to minimize the effect of stray capacitance, and also the lightning impulse. They have a peak value, time parameter, and overshoot. Okay, polarization of the electric might not be fast enough to follow fast time varying voltage. Okay, so about this one, the stray capacitance here, the stray capacitance to the ground or the high voltage object, change the ratio of the voltage divider. The ratio often depend on distance to the wall in the laboratory. So this is one the wall. If the voltage divider is near to the wall, so it will also be effect, and then to the ground, so we effect to the stray capacitance. So for the cable loading here, and this one the cable loading, the capacitance of the high voltage AC divider are usually so low that the cable capacitance typically is 100 picofarad per meter, has influence to the divider ratio and time parameter. Okay, so this one for the dampened capacitive, they have the combination of C, L, and R. Okay, the optimal for the surge impulse and lightning impulse, they have will produce the peak value and time parameter, and for the lightning impulse, they have a overshoot. Okay, the capacitive elements dominate at low frequency. Cannot measure DC because DC doesn't have a frequency. Okay, so the resistive element dominate at the high frequency, means the lightning impulse, stepness, and the overshoot. Okay, so this is the type of uh, the the dampened. Okay, the dampened capacitor divider for the number one, exactly over dam. Okay, number one, and the number two is over dam. Okay, this one the number one, is over dampened. Okay, and the excessively over dampened, and the number 2 is over dampened, and number 3 is typically. So we can see here they have this is the typical, so they have overshoot here, the pulse, and then number 4 is excessive overshoots, and the number 5, and the number 5 here is a DC offset. Okay, and this one for the measurement cable. Okay, so the measurement cable. So this one the cable connection, and this is the measuring instrument, the MI. Okay, so if the measurement cable cannot be matched with the instrument Z1 and Z2, so that's why uh, uh, I think the before this we have about the signal reflection. Uh, sorry. This is for the next topic for the signal reflection. So that's why we need to the impedance matching, because the every type of cables, they have cable or lines, they have different type of impedance matching. So if they have a different impedance matchings, so the signal will be reflected, and then they have and then the every type of the line or cable, they have also the velocity of a signal in the cable. So according this one, if the Z2 is not equal, Z1 is not equal to Z2, the signal will be reflected many times before it settle. Means the actual signal can through the cable is will be lost. Okay, so the speed of light, they have a the value of speed of light, 30 cm per nanosecond, and the velocity of the cable is 77 percent. So normally the velocity of the signal in the cable is 77% from the speed of light. Okay, okay, you can find the value of speed of light okay, in the internet. Okay, and then so about the 20 cm cable, this the speed is around 1087 nanosecond. Okay, so about the recording instrument, so it is depend on our instrument we use. So and some types of the measuring cable, the measurement of the recording instrument is have a different resolution, and for example, the resolution is very important, because uh, how much you can get the accurate of the of your signal. Okay, so the resolution 8-bit of the standard oscilloscope is a minimum that can be accepted for the impulse measurement. So and then often the higher resolution 10 or 12 is needed to detect change when the test result are analyzed. So that's why if you have a low resolution, you cannot capture the accurate signal. Maybe if you have a low resolution, for example, the actual signal is 1 kV, maybe the peak of signal you cannot capture by the recorder or the oscilloscope. Maybe you can get the peak is only 0.7 kilowatt. So it is not accurate if you use the low resolution. And about the bandwidth, okay, this is the specification. The bandwidth has to be more than 25 megahertz. Okay, and then the settling of the step response is critical, and then the input voltage level. Okay, the signal in the cable high voltage laboratory measurement is 100 volt. The signal to noise ratio not high enough for the low signal. Good input detector are needed. Okay, some of the probe. Okay, maybe they have they have a ratio 1 to 1,000, 1 to 100. So in the previous video that I show you, okay, the test, the impulse generator, they use one ratio 1 to 1,000 of ratio to measure the impulse that they produce in the laboratory. Okay, and then the special software is needed for evaluation of the impulse parameter. So normally we capture from the oscilloscope and we analyze in the MATLAB. So in the MATLAB we can use the several type to make a denoise technique, filtering technique, and then we want to show the rise time, the fall time of the signals, and the peak time based on in the MATLAB software. So, and then we want to show the time domain and the frequency domain. So we need to make the FFT. So everything we can use in the MATLAB, but the several oscilloscope they have the high performance of the scope, so we can directly get the frequency and the time domain in by using the oscilloscope. Okay, so this is the experiment setup. So this is normally not in the UWeb, but in the like such as in the USM, they use a Lecroy oscilloscope. Okay, and in the UWeb also they have a Lecroy, but the this is the low spec is because it's not application for the high voltage, the small application for the electronic, but we still can use, but the samples is depend on the spec of the oscilloscope we use. Okay, so this one, for example, here the Wavemaster 8600, the samples, okay, the sampling rate is 20 giga sampling per second. Okay, means one sample is about 50 picosecond. So it means from one sample to another sample is 50 picosecond. So if we have a sampling time 80 giga sampling per second, so the different sample to sample, okay, the sampling is 12.5 picosecond. So the more tiny of the sampling is very good to us to analyze and get to the accurate of a of the waveform. Okay, so this is one for the current measurement. So normally they have a shunt and a Rogowski. Okay, Rogowski cone. So in my PhD, I do research about the Rogowski cone to get the improve the Rogowski performance for the partial discharge measurement. And because normally the Rogowski coil is a air coil, so they have a no saturation output for the high voltage application, but for the low application such as a PD signal is very tiny, and the range is millivolt, so I need to make the Rogowski coil is very sensitive to get the small output. But for the high voltage application such as such impulse and impulse, and this is no problem for the Rogowski compared to the sensor other sensors such as HFCT, high frequency current transformer, because for the high frequency current transformer they use a quad, okay, ferromagnetic quad. So the output of the sensor will be saturated, but compared to the Rogowski, this is the unsaturated. So this is unlimited. How much how the big the signal, how how big the peak of signal, so they can capture. Okay, So this is for the current measurement for small DC. For the small DC measured using multimeter. Okay, current measurement using a small DC, using multimeter, a volt ohm multimeter. Okay, this is a large current measured using a shunt. Okay, a resistor of equivalent on a resistance. A shunt is placed in the series with the load. Okay, so that nearly all of the current to be measured will be flow through it. Okay, so to make sure uh, the the connection is in series, so the current flow it will be measured. Okay, the voltage drop across the shunt is proportional to the current flowing through it. Since its resistance is known, a voltmeter connected across the shunt can be scaled to directly read the current value. So the AC measured using the current transformer shunt or Rogowski coil, and then for the surge current, okay, typically measured using shunt, but the Rogowski coil also uh, applicable. Okay, so this one the current shunt. Okay, the inductance of the resistor has significant role on the measurement. Okay, so this one the shunt type here. Okay, this one the structure are designed to improve cooling, compensate magnetic field, and minimize the inductance. So this one the the construction of the Rogowski coil. They have a winding here. Okay, actually the Rogowski coil you can design by your own, because there's a simple structure. Okay, just looping the conductor wire on the small hole, or the pipe cable on the pipe. So you can use the Rogers coil for the application, but they have a still the parameter that you need to characterize to know the efficiency of the sensor. So this one the characterize of the Rogers coil. This is a air core compared to the HFCT, full current transformer. That's one the quad sensor, and then this is a symmetrical turret shaped coil used as a current transformer to measure current of a conductor passed through the coil. So the cable, or the some application, the Rogers coil is placed, okay, placed on the conductor. Okay, so the conductor will through the Rogowski coil, and this is reflect to the theory of the Faraday law. Okay, so the Rogowski coil will induce the voltage from when they have a cutting magnetic field, so they will induce the voltage. So the Rogowski coil can directly measure to the oscilloscope to get the output. Okay, so the dynamic properties depend on the mechanical structure and the winding design. So if you want to design the Rogers coil, is quite simple, but it is depend the mechanical structure, the type of structure. They have a circle, they have a square, they have a oval. So it is depend our design, and when they design, they have a written loop and written wire. So this will affect, okay, the output. And then to minimize straight inductance, coil work tightly, okay, symmetrically and perpendicular relatively to the tube. Okay, secondary, the voltage U is proportional to the measured current. Okay, integrating circuit is needed to define the ratio. Okay, so there they also need integrated circuit, okay, to to define the ratio, okay. So this is the the type of integrated circuit, okay, at a small ratio to the secondary coil at large the resistor and capacitor as an integrator, okay, to from the output of the Rhodes coil they connect to the integrated circuit. Okay, I think that's all the basic part for the high voltage measurement. So I hope you can all of you can remember the type of voltage divider and then the issue of the straight capacitance. Okay, so I think that's all. So thank you very much. See you for the next class. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.